gonna take my sweater off now because so you can see them. They're not as big as you would expect, but hey, I'm happy with them. Okay, hello, hi. This is going to be the 15-week end of 15-week update results. How my 15 weeks of cutting went. 15 weeks ago, well, probably a little bit over that because this is a little bit delayed because life kind of got crazy. In July, Matt and I started a true cut attempt to actually focus on losing fat while retaining muscle. And he wrote my program and I cycled his program 3 times, 5 weeks at a time. And overall, about 80% of it was focused on nutrition, where 100% was focused on my programming and how I was feeling in the gym. So results are, I lost 13, 14 pounds from day 1 to the last day. And I feel pretty confident that those pounds, so 15 pounds in 15 weeks, that's 1 pound a week, which is really, really good, especially since I did want to make sure I would retain any kind of muscle I had put on, or even hope to add muscle in, even though that's really hard to do because really you only build muscle when you're in a caloric surplus, and I was not. But I have been known to recomp before, so who knows. We were doing body fat percentage tracking using our Renfo body metric scale. It's $30 off of Amazon. Didn't really put too much trust into it, or didn't really count it too much. My body fat percentage dropped about 3% in 5 weeks. And that's another reason why I feel like the majority of the 15 pounds I lost was fat, because of the 3% drop that it did do, and just from some other things. But like I said, it's a $15 Renfo scale off of Amazon. It could be wildly inaccurate, and I've talked about that in a previous video, so I won't go into that, but I will link the video below. So if you're interested in learning more about fat percentages and how stuff like that works, go check it out. So the photos, so I'm going to put the photos up here and just basically talk about the differences that are there. So from July, you could definitely tell I had a lot more fat around my stomach, arms, back. Like it's pretty easy to tell like where it was in comparison to where it's gone. So overall, I did shrink. The clothes that I started out wearing 15 weeks prior all got a lot looser all over, in stomach area, hips, legs for shorts, and then tops where, chest area, shoulders, back. And if you look at the photos, you can actually see the swimsuit top I'm wearing. It in and of itself, you don't see like anything hanging over it like you do in the first photo. And as for the shorts, you can see where they got looser on my waistline. With all of that, everything else did shrink, so that's good. Like I've said before, you can't spot burn fat, so the fact that all over my body shrank means I lost fat from everywhere, not just in one spot, which was really cool. Like I said, my obliques are much, much more defined, and in certain light, you can actually see the crosshatch abs starting to come out, which is really cool. I've never really had that before. I've always had the obliques really pop out because of lifting. If you lift heavy, your obliques are just gonna, because they are kind of what holds everything in together, and you do have to be a bit more intentional when trying to get the 6-pack or 8-pack, depending, maybe even a 4-pack, depending on what your genetics are. My delts are much more prominent now, which was one thing I was really hoping for, just so you can get that like V shape to you. And they're also striated, and they just look so much better. My arms overall, I think, look a lot better. One of the most surprising changes, though, comes from my lower half. I've always thought that my lower half would be my trouble area, as they say. But not only do I now have quads popping, which is like really cool. Also from the back, you can see my hamstring structure is starting to show. And I always thought that was going to be the last thing I would have to work on. So it's really, really cool to see that my hamstring development and quad development are starting to show much more quickly than what I thought was going to be my upper body development, just because how I tend to lose fat, how I've thought in the past was top down, but it looks like it might just be like this. So that's kind of cool, especially from the back. Being able to see my hamstring structure was a super big surprise for me. I do work on posing, and Matt kind of helps me with it, and he was also saying how my hamstring development from the back was really starting to show, and so it was really surprising, but really, really cool, and something that definitely gave me a bit more like motivation. So I was like, wow, I never would have expected that. And that was the biggest surprise out of everything, was that my legs really took off. I did build strength and feeling stronger, but towards the end, when I cut calories for that last 2-week push, I could definitely feel just like the energy, and I was going to be sore a bit more. But at the same time, I was also working towards the end of the 5-week program, which is a lot more difficult than the first week. So it also made sense that, you know, that was the 2 difficult parts of the program, last 2 weeks, and that's when I cut the most. But it worked out really, really well. So this was a really fun shred, and it gave me a lot to think about for when I actually start a competition prep, and what I need to look out for, and what I need to just plan and know when things are going to be happening. And with that being said, next steps are to actually put muscle on without putting fat on, which can be pretty difficult. But how I'm going to be doing that is looking at what my maintenance calories are going to be, and then using the scale. Basically, as I'm eating maintenance, I don't want the scale to go up or down. I want it to stay the same. And how I'm going to be able to put on muscle, though, and not put on fat, is by making sure of calorie timing. So like previously, all my nutrition was supporting my program. It's going to be even more intentional with that in terms of calorie timing. So a lot of my carbs are going to be right before I work out, so that I have a lot of energy in the gym, to make sure that I'm breaking my muscles down so that in the recovery phase they can build up and utilize any extra calories I do have. So really just that. I'm not going to be changing my macros around. I think I've shared them before. If I haven't, I'll just put them right here. They're standard bodybuilding macros. Depending on what your needs are, though, your percentages might look different. I'm just making sure to get in minimum fats for hormone health and everything, and maximum amount of protein for protein synthesis, and fill everything in with carbohydrates, which really, really worked for me, and also worked for Matt as well in those. So let's just keep doing the same thing that I know worked. And I'm also going to probably be changing the program up a bit to focus on growing my legs, because with that all being said, I will be doing a 1UP 8-week transformation challenge, and it's going to be a bit different. I feel like a lot of people do these transformation challenges and they try to shrink themselves, which is perfectly fine. However, with my transformation, I want to grow and I want to look bigger, but look bigger muscularly, not just bigger in general. So that's 8 weeks, and then after that, I'm going to stay in a maintenance phase, because I want to make sure that the muscle I put on during this time solidifies and my body actually accepts it as new muscle. Because when you start to cut, if you've put on new muscle that's really new, that's kind of the first muscle that goes away. And starting in January, I'm going to be doing a competition prep, because in April I am going to be competing, most likely in the wellness category, maybe in figure. Haven't really decided yet, but all I know is that I want to make sure to grow my legs and grow my delts. And if I can do that, then it's kind of really just up to what do I feel more comfortable doing in terms of posing and routine. So that is that. Yeah, that's end of one 15-week cut and onto a main gain phase for at least 10 to 12 weeks before going back into a true competition prep and shred. So I probably won't be doing weekly updates in terms of the transformation challenge, but I will be including what I'm doing, probably more on workouts and nutrition side, and just like how it's all going. So yeah, it's about to be really busy too. But if you've been here since, you know, for whenever you joined in, thank you so much. And please continue watching, and we'll see you in the next one.